oh, you don't want to take out the nappy bin. And I'm like, it's not the smell, it's the slugs. I heard a fantastic bit of parenting advice the other day.
Do not throw nappy bins over your boss's car.
Nobody's going to replace us. That human connection that babies and young children need.
So true.
Is human.
Yeah, I would not marry myself.
I'm not willing to look that deeply at my own character flaws, I think.
We've got deeply philosophical already on the first 15 minutes of this
Goodness me.
podcast. I love it. Hello, and welcome to the second episode of the Tiny Chair Pod, the podcast for early years leaders and educators who spend all their days in chairs just like these ones. Tiny chairs of the nation unite. Brought to you by Family, the early childhood platform. They had us back, Julia.
They did.
They let us do two.
The first
Pretty
one
nice.
went so well.
That is good. I'm glad that we didn't just do one and then we were, that would have been sad. We would have set up the
God, yeah.
sponsor.
Well, now it's the difficult second album, isn't it? So
The sequel. But for those who didn't catch our first episode with the wonderful Alice Sharp, Julia, do you maybe want to just intro yourself to the people?
yes, my name's Julia. I was an early years educator for many years. And now I spend all my time working on this podcast and making content all about how important the first 5 years of a child's life are.
Absolutely. And my name's Matt, and I was once a child myself. That's the only credentials I have, but I do work here. So, my desk is close to the studio, I guess.
It made sense, right?
Yeah. This week, we're chatting to the wonderful Alison Featherbe all about a very hot topic, that is artificial intelligence in the early years. Pretty exciting, Julia, huh? No?
Sounds like sci-fi to me. I'm a little bit nervous.
Okay, put your fear to one side, Julia, and we'll dive straight into the episode with Alison. But first, those of you who would like to get in touch with us, we would love to hear from you. We want your feedback. We want your suggestions for guests. We want your early years shout-outs. We want your agony aunt sections where you want advice from our guests. Please, we want it all, and you can send it to tinychairpod@family.co.uk. That's tinychairpod@family.co.uk. Please send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. And without further ado, should we get on to it?
I think we should.
Let's get into it. So, for our very second guest, we have someone who I'm very, very excited to sit down with. And she's already here listening in, and now I'm going to do another long-winded intro where I give her loads of kudos, and she has to pretend like she's not already here. So, like all good relationships, I first met Alison when she said nice things about us online, and then I slid into her DMs. I had a little check back on Twitter the other day. I went back there, even though it's a bit of a hellscape these days, to see our very first conversation, which was fun. Since then, we've interviewed Alison more times than I think I can count. You gave me the idea for Family's best ever performing article. We'll get more into that later. You sat on the panel to award our very first children's champion. That was exciting. And so much more. For those who don't know Alison, she is an absolute tour de force in the industry with more energy and passion for change and learning and improving things than, frankly, many people I know. And, before that, Alison worked for 40 years in the industry, first as a nursery manager, early years teacher, and as an early years development officer for a local authority. And we have in Julia's local authority, nonetheless, so we'll have to get back to that in a second. And nowadays, I would describe you as a sort of a process, procedure, policy genius, helping sittings navigate everything from Ofsted, the EYFS, safeguarding, schemas, behaviour and wellbeing, the whole lot. There's not a thing that Alison doesn't know, and I cannot wait to dig into everything today. Alison, welcome to the Tiny Chair Pod.
Welcome.
Wow, what an honour. Thanks so very much for inviting me. So looking forward to our chat.
I think we have to dig straight into it. As with Alice's Tiny Chairs, you've got an amazing background. For those who are just listening, Alison has a wonderful on-air BBC sign, which we're very excited to find more about later on. Where did you pick that up?
Car boots out.
Car boot.
Oh, I love a car boot.
Love a car
Love
boot.
a car boot.
Car boot is a great early years place, isn't it? There's so much good early years stuff at a car boot.
Treasure.
The potential for everything that I pick up is unbelievable. So yeah, it's a great source of information and knowledge and resources.
And a little birdie, and that little birdie is you, told me that BBC is something that it does not just stand for the British Broadcasting Corporation. Tell us more.
Well, it can stand for many things. It can stand for, one of the things I think it could stand for is building blocks central. So building blocks to me are the absolute genius core resource, obviously community playthings ones, as long as you watch the free Throwball building blocks training that's out on YouTube. Those two things together magic, happy days. They are everything. I love building blocks.
Let's filter more BBC things as we go. If you come up with
okay,
anything
yeah.
through,
I
that
like
could be
that.
the theme of the podcast. I'll be thinking while you're talking.
I've
asking
got
questions.
loads.
Oh, great, nice.
Ooh, okay, can you give us a sneak peek of one?
Well, one of them is born before computers.
Oh,
So
that's me.
Not that I was born before computers, because they've been around for a many long time.
Oh,
But
of
I
course,
was
yeah.
born before computers became our best friends. When you drop your phone, you say sorry to your phone. You realise
Oh my gosh.
that our phones and this digital world is hit with us to stay, really. So yeah, but I can remember, they used to burn the fields. I don't know if either of you two remember that, but they used to burn the fields near where I lived. And
Burn
so
the fields?
my form of play with my friends was running just ahead of the burning grass, of the burning.
What?
Sorry.
I've heard of risky play, but I mean,
The ultimate risky play.
It was super. We used to make dens out of great big stacks of hay, and yeah,
I'm
dangerous.
blown
Alison,
away.
where are you going? Oh, mother, just out to play in the fire. What?
But mother never asked.
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
nice.
They never asked. They
Yeah.
never wanted to know.
We live in a different world now. I also love this
too,
idea,
gosh.
and it segues into our later conversation around AI of apologizing to your phone. One thing I do is I'm very polite to ChatGPT. I don't know if you guys do the same thing. I don't want to order it around just in case it's in charge at a later date.
Yeah, we'll get onto that.
Yeah.
I'm the same with Google, though. I have to say, I won't Google a word, but I'll write a full sort of question because I don't want to give it the wrong idea.
Yeah,
So
love it.
I think we should get into it.
Let's do it.
So, Alison, do you know what an ick is? So, this is a section we like to call early years icks. So, what is it that we're seeing in the early years or you've experienced either in the past or in the present that just makes you say ick? Now, I don't mean something harmful or sort of really bad practice, but just something you think, I've had enough of that. I don't want to see any more of it.
For me, it's definitely around smells.
Oh,
The smells of the nappy bin. That's
yeah.
instant no. I might cheese people off, but the tabard.
Oh.
Do you mean the sort of beauty salon looking ones or the apron
Yeah,
ones?
no, the beauty. I mean,
Beauty salon.
the tabard is probably the most useful things that we can wear. It's got little pockets. Everything is with you. It can have your walkie-talkie, your post-it notes. It's really useful. But no one looks attractive in a tabard.
It's just not a good look.
No.
Do you know I've got a good story about nappy bins?
Oh, I've got a good story about good story.
Who goes first?
I'm
You go
hyping it
first.
up too much.
Well, tabard.
Yeah, I've massively oversold it. So I used to work in a setting where we had these sort of traditional apron-looking tabards as part of our uniform, and the pocket I was at the front. This sort of kangaroo-style pocket, and I used it exactly as you're describing. So I'd have my notebook in there, and I'd have a couple of pens in there, and then a child would hand me something, and I'd be like, I'll pop that in my pocket, and I'd end up walking around just looking like it was ridiculous. I was like Santa's sack in there.
Love it.
And because I'm so short, when I'd stand up, this kind of bulbous sack of early years detritus would get stuck between my legs. And so I'd end up half getting up and just getting jerked back down again because this sack was just weighing me down. It's absolutely outrageous. And we did change the uniform eventually.
I love that.
Mostly due to my continual bullying of my manager because I couldn't cope with it anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I'm glad you're here because I had no idea what a tabard was. I was thinking it's the thing you put maybe a sword in or something. I don't know.
Scabbard.
Scabbard. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Correct. No, my nappy bin story is as we talked about last time. I used to work at a soft play centre, and the one task on the end of day to-do list that everyone used to hate was obviously emptying the nappy bins. Yeah. But we turned it into a bit of a risky play game, me and a few of the other guys, which was like we had to take the nappy bins out. Take them out to the dumpster out the back, and then you would throw them into the dumpster from further and further away. Obviously, if you miss, it's a big problem. We occasionally would also do it over our boss's car, which was a real laugh.
Crumbs.
I know, that's big stuff.
Educators in settings don't get any ideas. Goodness me.
Do not throw nappy bins over your boss's car. That's my tip.
For me, it wasn't the emptying of the nappy bin itself. It was taking it out to the big yellow sort of hazardous waste dumpster. And I'll tell you for why. So I have a little aversion, shall we say, to slugs. But for some reason, slugs love nappy bins. So
Interesting.
when you open the lid of this kind of yellow dumpster to throw the nappy bin bag in, it was always absolutely heaving with slugs, just lousy with slugs everywhere.
That is gross.
Yeah, it really upset me. So, yeah, people thought I was just like, oh, you don't want to take out the nappy bin. And I'm like, it's not the smell, it's the slugs.
Yeah, that's more than an ick. Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you have any good nappy bin or tabard related stories, Alison?
Do you know, I don't think I do.
They go down fantastically at a dinner party, let me tell you. Should we move on to quickfire?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's move on. You want to go first or shall I?
Oh, all right. Yeah, I was going to take a drink of coffee, but why not?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, Alison, what is a job that you can imagine that lots of people would like, but is your absolute worst nightmare? So this is a trick question. You can't just answer like nappy bin emptier or, you know, like that person who has to go down the drain and whatever. Like some people have to like the idea of this job, but you hate it.
It's supposed to be quickfire.
Sorry.
That's a hard one. So a job that I like or don't
No,
like.
you would hate it. It would be like your worst nightmare.
So, for example, like an influencer, I would hate that job because some people might say mean things to me in the comments and I'd be
Yeah, I
sad, but
couldn't
some people
handle
would
that.
love that job.
For me, it would be like event organizer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know, some people would want to be like, oh, I run Lollapalooza or something. Oh, God.
Yeah.
It would bring me out in hives.
So it would definitely be a podiatrist or a foot person.
Okay.
That would be a
Ooh.
complete no-no. But that's definitely got to be someone's interest, hasn't it?
Yeah.
They're
I think-
definitely doing that job because they're interested in feet, the structure, the problems, feet. I mean, feet are everything, absolutely. And they hold us up and we have to absolutely look after our feet. But the people must be interested in feet in order to do that job. I am definitely not interested, don't like, can't go anywhere near.
I'm on it with you.
Good answer. Yeah,
Great
I don't
answer.
think I'd be a feet person either.
No.
My question
Mm-hmm.
is, what piece of parenting or education advice should be retired forever?
Well, I'm going to sort of flip that on its head, really.
Oh.
I think that parents really need to be in the moment with their child. And I think that is a really hard thing to do because there's so many things going on in your mind. There's hormones popping in. There's, where was the old me? You know, your life has changed forever when you have a child. And I think with social media and with people scrolling, asking TikTok for advice, there's so many rabbit holes that you can go down and so many if, ands and buts. And they make us anxious and they make us think about all the possibilities. And it is completely overwhelming, as you know, when you have a child. You know, things pop into your head and you actually have to consciously pop them out. So I would really say to parents, just really be in the moment, treasure every day, be hugely grateful for your little bundle of joy that you've got, and really think about what they're doing, trying to get inside their head, trying to think about what they're trying to work out, because I know that even from a very, very young age, babies are trying to work out this world that we're in. So just take some time, sit back and relax, try and get inside the head of that little person. They could have been here before. I'm a bit of a believer in that.
Okay.
Let's get into
Hot
that later.
take. Hot take.
They could have been brand new, but inside is a little spirit, and it's
Love
up
it.
to us to nurture them, but also to guide the way really for them as well.
Wonderful. Love that.
Do you know, I heard a fantastic bit of
I'm ready.
parenting advice the other day, and
me.
well, I know it's an early years podcast, but I'm going to share it because I think it's so beautiful. And it was that, you know, on the days where it feels frustrating and tiring and nothing's going right and they don't want to eat and they don't want to sleep, and those are the days where you envisage yourself in 20 years time or whatever, reminiscing on that day and how much you value them at the age they are now. And I have to say, I like on the days when things are tough, I've done it
helped.
several times with my two little boys. And I thought, gosh, you know, in 20 years time, I'll be looking back and thinking, wasn't it a wonderful time when they were smearing Weetabix into my sofa?
Yeah, exactly.
Love that.
So, for any parents out there, that's one to think about.
I think that's great. Like, put the rose-tinted spectacles on now somehow. Yeah. Great. Now, my next question, I think we've already covered this maybe with the burning fields, but I'm going to say, what was your favourite toy or resource when you were in the early years yourself, Alison?
I really believed that I was destined to be a teacher or a facilitator, because
That's good.
Well, I would really love my teddies and dolls. And there was definitely some caring elements of what I didn't. The family that I was living in, well, my parents, obviously, I didn't have younger children apart from a very near to me age brother. So I didn't sort of see anyone with babies or anything like that. But I definitely had an inner carer in me. I can actually remember we had a parent come to our school. I think it must have been in junior school. And she wanted to tell the class about her young baby that she'd just had, and her son was in our class as well. And I was absolutely enthralled. I could not believe it. My mind was absolutely blown. I'd never seen a baby before. And I just remember it vividly, absolutely loved it. So I think I was
destined to be.
Or you manifested it, maybe.
Ooh, now we're getting into it. All right, Julie, over to you.
Go on. What is one superpower that would make your job easier?
If I could split myself into two.
Nice.
I would really like that. There would be the Alison that organises the home and books the holidays, sorts all of that out. That could be a whole job in itself.
Oh, amazing.
The Alison that walks around, is out, goes to National Trust places, has lunch.
Lovely.
I'd like that, because all of that well-being would really feed into Alison, the business person, and the person
That's three. You've split yourself in three there, Alison.
No, there's two. There's Alison, the one that wants to go and play and eat and tidy up. And there's Alison, the business person.
I see. So the organiser is also the one who's lunching at National Trust.
Yes, you have to organise your lunch.
Great, I love that. Which one are you going to be? Both?
Yeah, I really want to be both. Yeah, absolutely. Have full control.
I don't think I'd do that. I think we'd end up fighting. I think the one who's having a lovely time at a National Trust property would be like, well, why haven't we cleaned the house? Yeah. And the other one's like, well, I've been at work. It'd just be like a really dysfunctional marriage, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would not marry myself. It would not be the choice. So many reasons.
I'm not willing to look that deeply at my own character flaws, I think.
We've got deeply philosophical already on the first 15 minutes of this podcast. I love it. All right, then I think maybe the final one on this quick fire question from my side is, what is the one early years storybook you've read so many times you know it off by heart?
I read many storybooks, and I do joke that actually when I went to uni at a very late age, I think I was about 45, something like that. Wow. I'd never actually read a proper book. The only book that I'd read was Dear Zoo.
Oh, yeah.
That came as a bit of a shock to have to read large amounts of text.
Like textbooks and stuff, yeah.
I mean, there are some favourites. I think the books I most enjoyed reading with my children were ones where there was playing with words. So jokey ones where words were made up, ones where words didn't, rhymed with each other and just make you laugh. So poems, rhymes, things like that I love particularly reading.
Love that. Good little tidbit for later on the poem. We got something coming on that. Ruining the secret.
Teasing the features.
Alrighty then. That was great.
I'm going to join Alison's book club though. Dear Zoo every week.
Dear Zoo every week. Why not? Great. It's a great one. What's the storybook you've been reading most recently to your little ones, Julia? What's top of the mind right now?
Most recently, I got one called How Mamas Love Their Babies. But the one I know off by heart is The Gruffalo. When I first started in the early years, that was an absolute favourite of the class I was looking after. And so it was a request almost daily, I'm going to say. But
Page 7.
Definitely several times a week. Page 7, I believe he's meeting the owl. The mouse is meeting the owl.
Impressive.
Crumbs. If that's correct.
We'll fact check that later.
Oh, God, yeah.
But let's get into it then. The main topic. So one of the big reasons why we've got you on today, Alison, is that you've been doing a lot of work recently about AI in the early years, and of course it's a super hot topic right now. I know it's something you're quite passionate about. It's something that we've obviously talking about a lot here at Family as a tech company. But maybe just as a starting point for those who don't know much about AI, maybe they've been a bit afraid to explore it too much. how have you been explaining to early years colleagues like what it even is? Like, what's your starting base when you've got someone in front of you who's just totally new to the thing?
I think when I go in and help and support and advise settings, I'm very well aware that people can become overwhelmed really quickly.
So true.
So if I suggest, review your policy around X, or, have you got systems and processes in place for recruitment? Have you thought of how you could train your team at the next staff meeting? So I will, some of these things are things that people are continually developing around. So I do show them how to use AI to help and support that. I think because it saves us time.
Yeah.
We do have to be very careful with what we're inputting. I can very quickly gauge where people are at on their journey around AI. Some people haven't even thought about using it in their work. They're aware of the wording. They're aware of these things are out there, but it's not in their conscious being just
They're not
yet.
sort of explorative enough to get into it yet.
No one has signed up.
How do you break down that first barrier of someone who is not really exploring it and is a bit afraid of getting started?
Well, we sit side by side and we look at the computer. I go to ChatGPT first, and they are absolutely blown away once they're in, and then I'm able to continually help them. I do have a VIP membership group, so people are in there, and we talk about AI, the different AIs that are out there to help us. I'm constantly being blown away by what's out there and the capabilities. So I sit down side by side, open up ChatGPT and explain roughly what it is and how it can help us in the early years. And one of the first things we do is to talk about how to train your AI and how to start right from the beginning, really, with what you're inputting.
Can I
go on?
I was going to say, for those who are so sort of green about AI, how do you even get to ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Where do you find it? Where would you go?
Can you Google?
Literally just type in
Google.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Love it.
Easy.
That's simple.
Brilliant.
And then you just get a free login, right? And just play around?
Yeah, it's linked to your email. And so, free login. There are some limitations with free versions. I would definitely suggest that people try free versions of everything before they get the paid version. But with ChatGPT, start to train it, start to say, what are you going to use it for? I explain that actually how I started was I needed a personal assistant and I couldn't afford a personal assistant.
Right.
So then AI became my personal assistant. But the more you train it, the more you realise the potential.
And it is just about talking to it on a sort of human level, which is obviously a weird thing to say given it's not a human, but just explaining what you want out of it. That's how to prompt the best out of it, and try to be as specific as possible. I totally agree with you. And also I think on the writing side, as you say, using it for policies, procedures, it's like not necessarily taking the first draft as the final draft. That's okay. It's like, get it to do the dirty work for you, get it to do the start, and then you go in, you edit, you work from there, right?
But we do know that ChatGPT is functioning maybe in 2024. So updated information is not there for you. However, I am working with somebody who's made me a GPT around recent documentation.
Personal one?
Gosh.
So it is really up to date. But we've had to train it really, really carefully.
Yeah.
For example, it came, and I've been putting, questions in it. For example, it said, suggested a Moxted. And I was like, whoa, hold on a minute. That is not the way that we want to go.
Yeah.
So Marnie has trained it to say, actually, could you encourage people to self-evaluate, to to be critically reflective? Can you give them some ideas to use the Ofsted documentation in a way that is going to help and support them, rather than paying for a Moxted, etc.? Because the capability really is out there for AI to help us, but we need to be AI literate. We need to know the potential, but it's not going to take away our knowledge, skills and experience, because absolutely fact checking is going to continue.
Spot on.
But the more that we criticize AI, our own AI, the more that it will learn about what we know.
Yeah.
And so the magic happens. I mean, there's certainly, you can definitely be there for a long time asking it loads of things, but all of that really is an investment, because you won't have to see it again. Yeah.
And that's that idea of sort of molding it over time and recognizing that you might have to put a bit of work in that you end up, paying back later to a really high degree.
Absolutely.
Well, I will be the first to admit I am a little bit of an AI skeptic. So I wanted to have a go at creating something AI generated. So aside from being an absolutely professional podcast presenter, I also write articles.
Correct.
My main job is writing about the early years. So what better way to test some AI than to get it to do some early years writing for me? So I went to ChatGPT that Alison's been talking about, and I got it to write me a poem.
Okay, I'm ready.
An early years nursery rhyme. Okay. So are you ready? Okay.
Gripped.
It's magic. I haven't read it to Matt yet, so this is a surprise for everybody.
Mickle's quaking in his boots over in the far corner. I can see.
Okay, hold on. Let me get into character. This is outstanding. Right. The bumblebee's wearing a tutu and boots. He's juggling cupcakes and honking a flute. He trips on a donut, lands in a pie. Splat! There's whipped cream all over the sky.
Wow.
Wait. He flaps to the left, then flaps to the right, spins like a blender. Whoa, what a sight! He bumps into a frog who starts to do flips, and they both end up sliding down banana peels. Slip.
Wow.
I mean, it's pretty good, right? It's pretty good.
So what did you do to get that poem out of ChatGPT?
So, exactly as Alison said, I opened up my browser, so I was using Google. I went and I typed ChatGPT, and then it comes up with a text box, and I typed in, please write me a nursery rhyme that's suitable for early years children. And this is, the beautiful creation that came out.
Incredible.
I love it.
I
absolutely
love that, because there's loads of play on words there. There's loads of things were popping in my head. Blender, what does a blender look like? Cream on your face, what would that feel like? And there was a real onslaught there from just that poem into my head. So imagine what that does for children. And then it's made me think, actually, what would happen if we typed an interest in?
Yeah.
Children's interests, and asked it to come up with a story. I mean,
I love that.
The possibilities are true.
It's almost as if you read our cue cards, because that's what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah.
What do you think about the sort of, like, how this will impact children, how they should be introduced to this? What about AI toys? Like, do you think that this is something, like, where's the balance there when it comes? We've talked mostly about the how great it is for staff. What about for the children themselves?
Obviously, I'm a big fan of play, a big fan of children growing up and their little spirit that we need to unlock. We need to unlock that outside, I believe. We need to unlock that in nature. Children need to find out about themselves. Children need to know the possibilities. They need to understand the perspective of their friends. They need to solve problems with their friends. So I would not be a fan of bringing AI into toys. I would not be a fan of children, using technology so much in an early years setting. There's plenty of time for that. We know that we're obviously in the foundation stage, and we know that play and the things that we do to help children grow and evolve is going to be essential for them to grow up and be in a world. We don't know how it's going to affect schools already. I really wish it was there when I was doing my dissertation.
Yeah, of course.
We don't know how it's going to affect homework. We don't know how it's going to, very quickly, a child can be cleverer than a teacher, because if they're interested in using it to search a subject, if you're interested in Henry VIII, the possibilities are truly endless about where you can go. Asking about Henry VIII, and you could just go down a complete rabbit hole, and then very quickly, because children are, I believe, going to be used to taking large amounts of information in, there is an AI that actually you can upload loads of research, and then it gives you sort of like a podcast. I don't know if you've been into that.
this Notebook LM from Google.
Notebook LM. And that for me is really good, because that's how I learn, from listening to podcasts, and I could then type all of this in, and then we've got two people talking. I know they're a bit American at the minute, and I know there's loads of oohs and ahs and wows that continue to hook you in and keep you on track.
They're coming for our job, Julia.
I can't believe it.
AI is coming for us. It's not good.
With that in mind, there is obviously a bit of fear around AI taking jobs. Obviously AI can't, take the job of an early years educator, but there's still that fear that AI will be doing things that humans can't. Have you seen evidence of that when you go into settings and talk about AI?
Nobody's going to replace us. That human connection that babies and young children need 100%. Is human. It's there's never going to be robots and things like that that are looking after children. I can see that it would be useful, because there's already the technology through cameras to monitor. CCTV's been around for a long time. We know when we go through, it reads our number plate, and then we've got a fine for going too fast. That's all AI. It has actually been with us for some time.
Very true.
And so I don't think that, we should be worried or concerned, particularly in our sector. But it could make our jobs, and is making our jobs, much easier. But we still need that knowledge and experience. We still need to be mentored by someone else. We still need to be coached. Although actually I have trained one of my AIs to be my personal coach, not my activity personal coach.
Wow.
But you can do quite easily. And it's very, very interesting, because I already trust what it's saying, because I know what I've inputted. And so it organises my thoughts, and can even organise your day, and just help you prioritise. And for somebody like me that, sometimes faffing around thinking, oh my God, I've got so many things to do. Where do I start?
God, tell me about it.
Honestly, you can put that into your AI personal assistant, and it will tell you where to start. And sometimes that's the nudge that you need.
I think it's that interesting thing of with, like, how can it help to not necessarily this idea that it's all going to replace us all. I think for me, it's like, especially in early years, there's that reflection of, if I just had 5 more hours, if I just had 3 more hours. I mean, that's sort of the entire basis of what we've built at Family, right? Is how can we take time back so people can get back to what matters? And if AI can do more of that, it's not like all of a sudden you're not going to have anything to do. It's just maybe you can focus on the stuff that you really want to be focusing on, rather than, as you say, drawing up endless ratio documents or policies. And
it will be the stuff that we need to deepen our practice on and take action around and make better every day, because we know that interactions, high quality interactions, are the most meaningful things to children. That's absolutely affects outcomes. So we could use AI to observe our interactions, and then have someone to interpret that and say, actually, this has been brilliant. You've helped this child do this, that, and the other. But what you could do next is this. And
then, sort of feedback loop almost.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the potential is really huge.
Julia, 2 questions. First of all, why did you interrupt our chat with Alison Featherbe, and what are you wearing on your head?
Not Julia, I'm Family's AI sidekick.
Julia, not this again. I know you've got a plastic box on your head with tinfoil over it.
Okay, fine, but I'm just really excited about Family's AI sidekick.
Okay, I'll humour you. What is Family's AI sidekick?
That's amazing. So, when you're in the Family app and you're writing an observation or an assessment, or even when you're writing to a parent, you can use the sidekick function to check the tone of what you're writing and correct the spelling and grammar.
Okay, that does sound pretty good. So I guess as a manager, I wouldn't need to maybe check every single post that goes out. Practitioners can just sort it out themselves.
Absolutely, Sidekick takes care of it for you.
Nice. Well, I could use that, but is anyone else?
Do you know it's actually been used over 1 million times?
All right, I'm convinced. I'll give it a try. Where can people find out about it?
Well, you can go to family.co and search for Sidekick, and we've recently released a guide all about AI, which will help get you started with using AI in the early years.
Very, very nice. All right then, well, I guess it's back to the pod.
Back to the podcast. Now, speaking of things that Alison does and believes in.
Okay.
I would like to get on in a moment to your scorecards. However, first of all, I would like you to do some ranking for us. So have you ever done a blind rank before?
No, explain.
So we are going to give you 5 things. You won't know the thing that's coming next, and you have to give it a rank from 1 to 5. So from best to worst. Now, because we're talking about AI, I have chosen that this week we are going to be ranking childhood robots.
Great decision.
I will give a disclaimer. I have been very generous with the definition robot.
Some of these are,
well,
I can see you run out of pace a little. Yeah, that's fine.
We'll get to that. Okay, so, Alison, the first robot that I would like you to rank is Wall-E.
Wally?
Yeah, 1 to 5.
Oh, super cute.
He is cute.
He is cute.
I'm going to give Wally a 4.
Ooh.
Oh, but 4 good or 4 bad?
Oh,
4 is
good.
bad.
Yeah.
Oh, so a 2 then.
Because 1 is the best.
1 is the best.
Oh, 1 is the best. Oh, Wally, you're right up there too, yeah.
2.
Lovely. Okay, are you keeping track of this?
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is Optimus Prime, the Transformer.
Not interested in...
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Controversial.
But to be fair, I don't know their story.
Right.
Yeah, this is a generational thing. I'm now really fearful for the other 3.
Oh, cross.
So where are you putting
Gosh.
Optimus then?
5.
5.
Sorry,
Great.
Okay.
no knowledge.
The next one is R2D2.
Now you're talking my generation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, I can remember watching the first Star Wars. I think I was about 8.
Oh.
I fell asleep in the cinema.
That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign for R2D2.
So 1.
1.
Oh, wow,
Nice.
okay.
Wow. Okay.
The next one is Inspector Gadget.
This is really
Running out of robots.
robotic arms. I get it.
I first watched Inspector Gadget when I was a nanny in France. And
Okay.
obviously,
Wow.
it was
In French.
French. Yeah, well, it is French.
How do they say Inspector Gadget in French?
I have no idea.
Inspector Gadget.
Gadget?
Gadget? Sorry to any French listeners.
So because I was a nanny in France and I was watching it with the 2 children that I had that were 2 and 4 at the time, I was obviously, because I didn't listen in my French lessons, had no idea what Inspector Gadget was saying.
Oh, gosh.
But they were half French, so they sort of half did. But I was watching the story and I could unpick it. So I'm 3.
3.
Okay,
Nice.
and the last one is the brave little toaster, who is absolutely a robot and counts.
What is that?
See, I also had no idea when I saw this on the list.
What? You've never heard of the brave little toaster?
Never heard of the Brave Little Toaster.
Wow, okay, you both have homework to watch the movie about the brave little toaster.
But that's good.
Absolutely outstanding.
He's in his rightful place at 4 then, I
All right,
guess.
fair enough.
Okay.
So we
Fair
had
enough.
number 1, R2D2. Number 2, Wall-E. Number 3, Inspector Gadget. Number 4, Brave Little Toaster. Number 5, Optimus Prime. It's a pretty good
Fantastic.
list.
Amazing.
You happy with that, Alison?
I'm totally happy with that. Yeah,
Great decisions.
Gorgeous. Now we've done some blind ranking. I would love it if you could tell us a bit about your scorecards, Alison.
I love my scorecards. So a couple of years ago, obviously it's a platform that you use and anybody could use it. It's completely great. And when I saw the scorecards in action at the beginning, I thought these are what the sector needs, because everyone loves a quiz. So when you were growing up as a teenager and you opened up your Jackie magazine, everyone wanted to do a quiz and find
That's
out
so
where
true.
they were. I know. And so I thought this is going to be really good to help and support the sector, because I want people to recognise where they're at and realise that there's some more work to do, because you can use your scorecards to rank you, but you can use them in many ways, obviously. And then give you ideas about what to do and where to go next. Obviously, I use AI to help me to do that.
Of
There is
course.
an AI built into the system, which is really interesting as well. But there is also something very interesting about answering yes and no, because some of them are quite quick. It's quickly yes and no. Apparently, and there is some research around that, is that when people are doing online quizzes, they are much more open about, because there's no maybe. So are you confident in your safer recruitment policy? It's either a yes or a no. If you're not
Yeah,
100% confident in it, it's not a maybe. There's no maybe there. It's a no. And so these help you to get through to the end and to answer a question.
Love it.
But they also provide help and support. So yeah, I use them in a number of different ways.
Amazing. You had a go, didn't you, Julia?
Yeah, I will say it was a bit of a sneaky question because I have already had a go at one of these scorecards. I was making an all about me template.
Nice.
You know what an all about me
Oh,
template?
yeah.
So an all about me template, all the things you want to know about a child when they first start your setting. And so I put in my all about me template and I had a look and I was like, right, this is the question that's asking me if it has this information, yes or no, as Alison said. This is the question that's asking me if it has this, or have I thought about this, or could I add this? And so I could go through and see, right, have I included all the right things? What's missing? And then at the end, it gave me a nice little summary of not just the things that I missed, but then how I could add them and why that was important, which was also super useful. So I will say, Tiny Chair Pod approved.
Yeah, great and quick way of learning.
Very cool. And we're going to get on to, before we go, hearing about where people can go and find your scorecards and all your other stuff. But first, we have our Agony Aunt section. And we've done very well. In the first episode, we had Alice. So it was Agony Alice. Now we have Alison. So it's Agony Alison.
Perfect.
We're just going to have to keep with the A.
Yeah.
Agony Andrew, Agony Anthony.
Agatha? Do we know any early years Agathas? Write in if you're in the early years.
Wherever you are.
Starts with A because we're going to run out.
So, Julia, what have you got today?
Yes. So, this week I have a question around the best value continuous professional development. Cool. So, if you're looking for, and I won't say a quick fix, but if you're looking for something that's going to make a big impact and give you the best value for your money or your time, where should settings or leaders be looking to invest in their CPD?
I'm going to flip that. I think it's about finding about yourself and it's about your personal development. Because if you know why you get up in the morning and do the job that we do, and if you're purposeful, if you really truly understand your vision, if you know what children need right here, right now, if you've been trained in theory or you've read research and you're in a culture, in an environment that is completely in awe of what children say and do, and you share that information, and you take all of that on board, you feel you stand tall, and you end your day feeling absolutely elated by the difference that you've made. But I also think that we have to be critically reflective, and we have to think, actually, some of this practice or the way that I talk and the way that I do things has come either because they work somewhere else and it wasn't, let's say, a conducive environment, and you picked up on those one-liners that aren't really great, or you raised your voice before before thinking about what you were saying. I would like to not necessarily bring back, but we really need to think about what we say and do. And sometimes we need to unlearn practice, and we need to be open to being coached and mentored and open to the possibilities. But we need to go right back and look at babies and young children and just get inside of their head. Honestly, that's the best continued professional development tip I would ever say, is just get inside that baby's brain and try and work out what they're trying to do, what they already know, and what they're looking at, what they're exploring, what they're walking towards, how they're reacting with other children, and try and think they're doing this because of this. And know families, know the context of know if they're continually on phones, and that's all cultural capital. Know what they're watching on television. Is it obviously it's the toaster thing, isn't it, that you were talking about?
We should all be watching that.
Know what they've seen, know where they've been at the weekend, and really know children, but also provide just a bit of challenge. So we have the zone of proximal development. We have a bit in the middle. That's what we know children can do. We have the bit round the edge. We know that the baby's not going to go home on their own and get on a bus, but we have the zone of proximal development in that middle, and make sure that whatever you plan, whatever you do, whatever you say, however you interact, has about 15% of challenge for you and for children.
Love that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So everything you need is is there. You just sort of need to reflect and look at the children, look at the families, and think about what you need to do.
That's the best value for development there is.
Yeah, it really is.
That's it.
I think it is.
I think it's it. We have our congratulations. We got some in. This is very exciting. You can maybe join us in congratulating Alison. We'd love your help.
Oh, that's so nice.
It is. I'm so excited about this. So the first podcast, obviously, we were keeping everything a little under wraps. So we hadn't let anybody know that this is what we were doing. However, in time for this recording, I was able to ask some of our wonderful family customers in Village.
Our villagers.
Which is our community, for those of you not yet a member. And we got this wonderful, wonderful congratulations in. So I tell you what, I'm going to read it directly from the card because I want to get all of the details right, even though visually that's probably less exciting. So maybe you look interesting while I do this.
You want me to do like faces?
Yeah, do some good reacts. Okay, so.
Michael's already been telling me I need to do more faces, hasn't he?
You do need to do more faces.
So Julia does all these great faces and Matt, you don't just sit there boringly, so.
It's the Play-Doh
This is my time to practice.
So this is a huge shout out to Carol Milnes of Wild About Play, who have just been awarded, I need a run up for this, the level 2 from the Royal Horticultural Society School of Gardening Awards. No, I'm sorry, School Gardening Awards.
Wow,
I had
nice.
The card and I did
you had the card and everything.
Sorry, it is the level 2 from the RHS School Gardening Awards. So they have been doing some amazing things. So Carol said, "We are a small private outdoor nursery and forest school, and our children are involved all year round planting a variety of fruits, vegetables and flowers such as tomatoes, squashes, primroses and the usual sunflowers that give so much delight, which is lovely. We feel that it's so important for children to see the wonder that is the cycle of plant growth and feel a sense of achievement, especially when they can taste their produce." So I am offering a huge congratulations there to Carol and the Wild About Play team, because that is a huge achievement. Well done to them.
We need some sort of way of celebrating. What do we do? Can you do a trumpet?
Yeah.
That was
outstanding.
Really good trumpet.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Amazing.
Incredible. Well, I'm very, very pleased for the Wild About Play team.
Well done, Carol, and the whole team.
Well done to them.
Carol, well done.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
Well, Alison, I think the only place left is just to let people know where they can hear more about you, find your scorecards, maybe book you for stuff. Where can people find out about you?
Yeah, I've got a scorecards in Village. Congratulations on Village. I love the way that people are interacting in there. I think it's a really useful tool to take people out from social media, because it's definitely a safe space to learn and to grow. So congratulations on that. Thank you. I have put in there, and I have put everywhere, I've got a scorecard around navigating AI in the early years.
Amazing.
Discover your readiness and potential. So there's lots of top tips in there. What we're going to do is, if you complete the scorecard, we've got some free training that we're lining up for the end of April.
We love a freebie.
And we'll continue to do that because, we want to empower people. We want people to use what's out there so that we can literally save time and get back to growing, playing, interacting.
We'll put a link for that in all the episode notes and everything in the description. We can do that
link
now.
in bio. That sounds professional,
that sounds good, doesn't it?
Podcasters say that. Yeah, they say link in bio.
Link in bio. Link in bio.
We'll put some link in the links in bios. Sure, like sure. Should we say our thank yous?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to go first, or shall I? I'll thank first.
All right, then go on.
Thank you, Alison, for joining us.
Thank you,
You've been
Alison.
a fantastic guest. I've learnt so much. I'm excited and inspired to go and have a look at some AI and how it can save me time. Yeah, I after my poem, I think that was a good first.
It was a turning point.
I loved that poem. Really cool.
It was.
Well, that's really the only person I want to thank. I mean, I want to thank Mikkel and you, but you're getting paid to be here, so
that is true.
Thank you to everyone outside the office who stayed relatively quiet for this recording. That's the other people I want to thank. And Alison, thank you so much. And we'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Cheers. Bye.
Well, what an episode. Julia, do you think you're ready to explore artificial intelligence in your daily life a little more after listening to Alison?
You know what? I think I am. She was incredibly persuasive.
Very, very good. More AI curious.
Yeah, I would say so.
Nice. Love it. And we loved your poem, so,
Well, it wasn't mine, famously. Sure. It was the power of AI.
ChatGPT's poem.
It was.
Indeed. So if you got to this point in the podcast, well, we hope you liked it, or else what are you even doing here? So if that is the case, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, whatever, please give us a rating, maybe follow along, subscribe, and of course, if there's somebody in your life who you think this podcast would just perk up their day, please do send it on. We'd absolutely love to get more people listening to this thing. So Thank you very much, and we'll see you again next time.
See you next time.